Hello everyone, Wallsman105 here, back with another episode of Rail Tech. Today's episode is a huge leap in minecart technology, automation. Don't worry though, we're going to start small and build our way up. We'll be focusing today on ways to stop and restart your carts, and next week, we'll handle ways to route carts and handle intersections. Before we get into today's main topic, let's look at minecart automation in general. What does that even mean? Well, in short, a minecart track or route where the rider doesn't need to do anything. There can be different levels to this, and while this isn't any kind of official list, here's my take. At level 1 automation, carts are able to go from start to finish without player input, but this route cannot be adjusted at all. There may be multiple stops, but no complex options or real intersections. Then, at level 2, carts are going to be able to go from multiple starts to multiple destinations without player input, maybe handling a couple of small intersections. These are not something that, are usually built with pre-designed builds, but it's simply something that gets tacked onto an existing rail system, maybe because somebody wants to skip a stop. You'll also often see these pop up in storage systems, like this system that waits until a minecart hopper is full to send it on its way up the elevator. Like so. At level 3, carts are able to be routed in advance to handle numerous intersections, with no player input. Routing is flexible in these systems, and they're often modular, with easy ways to add on more routes and stops later on. My two favorite people for this are HiMCC and MAIZUMA Games, and I'll have links to their channels below. However, today, we're focusing on the basics. All the builds we make today are focused on reliably stopping your carts at an exact point, then sending them along after a short delay. This is great for basic rail projects like subway systems or a tram running along a town, or methods for moving your items around or between your bases. These builds will generally all use a detector rail to see a cart pulling in, engage the stop, and then start a timer. When the timer is done, the cart will get restarted and sent on its merry way. Let's begin with my personal favorite, the dip stop. The first step to making this work is to include some form of regulator, like this water one here, so your cart always slows down enough to stop on the downward slope, so it can easily be restarted. The next step? Simply add a timer. I did a video last week about redstone timers, but any build will do. You just want to find one that fits your track's design, and run with it. I love this design here because it can be built completely in line with your tracks. Still, it's not the simplest or the cheapest, but it can be configured based on how many items you put in these hoppers. Building this guy is pretty simple. You're going to start with wherever you have your rail line built out in, say, this direction. Where your dip stop is, you're going to go down like so. And we'll just place in the rest of the rails here. Now, you're going to need one of these to be a detector rail. And underneath that, an observer pointing up, detector rail on top. Take out these two blocks here, observer pointing into the first one, and a dispenser pointing upward. Rails on top of both. Now, you're going to want to come out to the side of the dispenser here and place some sort of block or slab or something that will stop the water, because, boom, that's your regulator built. The next step is going to be to take a block out from under here with this observer and have a repeater set to 2 ticks pulling the output. Then build 3 blocks out, come over to the side, and 4 blocks out with a target block here and a torch pointing into this little nook below your dip stop. Have dust out to the side there, dust here and here, and then comparators pointing in to complete the loop. Now you'll see that when a minecart comes along and goes over the detector rail, it'll fire the water and start the timer. Then, once it runs out, the cart goes along. As I said, this build is very simple and you can make it with any format of clock you want. It's really versatile, even though, if you make a more complex clock, it's a more complex build. Next up, we're looking at a piston stop. This one is very simple. We've taken a typical method for stopping a cart, added a detector rail and a timer, and voila! We have an automatic stop. As a bonus for simplicity, the rails for this stop never need to be unpowered. This build is probably your best bet in the Nether, where water regulators don't work for obvious reasons. This guy is also remarkably simple to build. Just come down here to where you want to stop, 2 blocks below, take out the rails, replace them with powered, flick that onto power, and add a detector rail right here before the dip. Then come out a block down, and you'll need a little 2x4 area, redstone dust there and there. Then you just need a comparator, well, 4 comparators to come out like this. And then you can staircase your way up to where the piston will be with a transparent block on its face. You can take out your extra blocks and dust on top of these. Now, when a minecart comes along, we should have our stop all functional. Coming up third, we have the side stop. This version is definitely the cheapest, but it needs to be tweaked based on the southeast rule. Building this one is very simple as well, and I'll go ahead and show you both versions. First step is to figure out where exactly you are going to want to have your stop. We're going to place a block at the end of our powered rail there, then come a block down, target block, and a torch. Then we're going to build the clock around the target block like this. Also, we're going to put a detector rail in front of this corner. Dust in these 3 places, and comparators in those 4. And that is everything for the eastbound or southbound version. You can see here, it will count down, and then it will release our cart like so. To get your rails in place, just a regular rail and a powered rail. Break and replace this guy. Come out 1 block. Replace this with the detector rail. Then come down here and place a target block with a torch so that we are powering this guy. Then again, we're going to build the clock around the target block like so, with our comparators here running our power. And then we will take another target block, place it off to the side with a torch on top, block up like that. And that's everything for the northern or western version. Finally today, I want to cover this tech to clear, store, and deploy your minecarts. Very old school, very simple. We're just linking up a cactus breaker with a dispenser with these little line of hoppers here. The only things you need to keep in mind when building this is to have a solid block below this hopper's button here, and to never ever power your hoppers. Beyond that, what you see is everything you need. Speaking of everything you need, that's a wrap on our first piece on automation. It's a big topic, but it's very fun, so we'll go step by step and build up to the major stuff. Until next time, guys, I'm Wallace. I hope you learned something, and remember to take it easy.